Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Adobe live stream here on Behance. Today, we have a great session planned for you. We are joined by the wonderful Will Paterson. Hey,
Hello.
Will.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going really well. And obviously, the last time we saw each other was during the Mac streams.
That's right, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good to be on with you again. And today, we're going to be doing more lettering, of course. Lots planned for today, right?
Yeah, we've got quite a few things planned. It's mainly using Adobe Illustrator on the iPad, which is my favorite new app at the minute, to use the drawing of lettering and trace it around, make it vectored so we can do a few different things to it if you so desire.
Yes, we do. And there's so much. And I've been commenting with Will just in the rehearsal leading up to the live stream that I've been following some of the work that Will's been doing on Instagram. And so we might be able to go into a little bit of some of that work as well, which looks absolutely amazing.
Of course, yeah.
Get in touch with Will today. Ask questions, right? We'll be chatting in Behance. So behance.net/live. If you're watching on YouTube, all of the chat, of course, is in Behance, but then we'll be on Discord after that. And to mention, of course, as you know, here on Adobe Live, we're live every day from midday till 1 p.m. here in the UK. So definitely tune in for the other days that we have this week as well planned. So you can see the schedule on the screen now. Rightio. So Will, tell everybody a bit about you for people that don't know what you do.
Cool.
Yeah, let everyone know.
So I'm a designer. It's hard. We were just discussing how am I introduced. I do quite a few things. So I do hand lettering. I'm a logo designer, which is basically just a designer that specializes in branding. My main core of work is brand identity. So I work with clients big and small to do brand identity work for them, for whether it's a leather company or a watch company, or a cosmetic company. I also teach creativity on YouTube, I guess, which is a strange one. I like to teach anything from the business side to owning an agency, to being a freelancer, to how to use certain Adobe products or make your work even better. So that's what I like to do. And also I'm just, I try to entertain you whilst I do that. I try to entertain whilst I do that.
You do indeed. I mean, definitely. We had a good laugh last time that we were on looking at the Mac stuff. And of course, since at Max, we launched Illustrator on the iPad. And there's so many new possibilities now, so many different ways to engage with Illustrator. What's been the best thing that you found about using on the iPad so far compared to desktop?
I think, I've been an iPad user since the first iPad Pro. And it's always been so natural to use a pen or a pencil on a piece of paper to do creative work. And I think the best part of Illustrator on the iPad is the pen tool, the ability to use it correctly, and not really have to worry about hotkeys and stuff. I think, when it's Illustrator on desktop, I love it, but there's a lot of hotkeys. So when you want to just do some drawing or some vector work on your lap, you don't really want to be pushing buttons and hotkeys. And I think you'll see it as we go through. There are sort of action bars that you can click onto different things. So you still have the main core functionality of Illustrator, but just in a pen form. It's really hard to explain. If you're someone who's used Illustrator for a long time, you'll get what I mean. It's basically just a lot easier, more natural to use Illustrator on the iPad right now.
Good. It's good to hear. And do you know what? I know we're going to jump into your work now, but I want to know the biggest debate happening in the UK right now, I'm pretty sure of it, is it time to put the heating on?
Oh, yeah. I've got this little heater down here that I've just put. Can you hear that heater? I'm scared that you can hear it.
No, we can't hear it at all.
Good. It's heating my legs up. I'm quite cold. So yeah, I think it is. I think it is time to put the heating on, especially in this weather right now.
I agree with you. We definitely need some kind of volcanic heat because the weather has suddenly dropped here in the UK. I don't know if anyone else has opinions on it. There's a lot of opinions in my household about the heating right now. But yes, let's get into what you're going to show us today because it looks great.
Cool. Do you want me to show you? So if you just hop to my screen here. So we're going to be creating this. This is the main thing. So this is done all like vectored and traced inside of Illustrator on iPad. So I can give you an outline view, which is just the curves. You can see all the Bezier curves. It looks like a lot's going on, but really it's just management of layers and me messing around with it. We've got this here. So you can scale in all the way through as you can do. And this is sort of like the bitmap. So the keeps flicking over. This is the non-vectored bit. And what we're going to be doing is hand lettering this out through the pen tool to make it perfect, hopefully perfect or nearly perfect. And for anyone who doesn't know what you can do with this, you can create a lot of things out of a vectored shape. So I managed to hack the system a bit and make sure to show you this, which is what you can also create in Adobe Dimension, which is 3D work for it. It looks real. It's not real though. But I mean, to me, it looks ridiculously real and cool. But basically, this is me just bringing it into Adobe Dimension through a little way of making it into a 3D shape in Photoshop, exploring it out and putting it into Dimension, putting a different shapes in it, playing around with the lights and the environment and creating this cool 3D look. And that's sort of what you can do with having things vectored out, having these curves on it perfectly. So it's good to know how to actually do this.
Yeah, and I think in another stream we could probably get into that process of turning your vectors, into 3D in Photoshop and doing that in Dimension for sure.
Definitely, yeah. I think that would be cool. So, do you want me to get cracking with it then?
Yes, please.
Cool, right. I'll move my microphone. Tell me if my mic's annoying anyone or in the way.
Don't worry, cool. You're good.
So this is what I was talking about, the action bar. So when I select this image here and I want to drop the opacity and lock it so it's acting like a tracing paper so you can just trace over it. Over here, you can slide. There's a little button on the left over there on this action bar down here. You can slide, which will increase and decrease the opacity. So I'm just going to bring that down to where I can see it. And then I'm going to lock it. And all I did there was do it from that action bar. Now, whenever you have a shape, you can basically just go ahead and select it and use that action bar. Now, I'm going to quickly sketch this out and I'll try and talk all the way through it because using the pen tool with this is kind of a bit different than what people may think. Oh, hello. I've got one password opening up after it just fell off. There we go. So the way that I do it when it comes to pen tooling is I keep all the lines or the handles horizontal and vertical, which is what some people might have already told you, but it's hard to work out where to put these anchor points if you're new to it. But the sort of system that I go for is that there should be an anchor point on the top, the left and the bottom. And then we use those handles to pull them into a real shape. So like into the actual curve that we need. So your handle should never be going like anywhere else, generally speaking, but up and horizontal. So vertical and horizontal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because you can pull those, you can manipulate it really.
Yeah, that's the gist, isn't it? And it makes it a lot easier later to edit.
Yeah.
So carry on.
Oh, sorry. I know that Jackie asked a question about, is there any way that we can see where the pen is on the screen? And I think we're roughly seeing it where those little blue lines are.
I think so.
We can see you working in there, can't we? It's just
I will do this. See if this helps. You should be able to see my hands now.
There you
dots.
Go. Yeah.
But if it annoys me a bit, I might have to take it off.
Yeah, no worries.
Because can get in the way.
Yeah, no worries. And there were a few comments about the heating, by the way. It says, here we go. I know that, here we go. Stuart made me laugh. Stuart said, put a jumper on, which is exactly the debate that's in my head. Catherine's got a heating on. Here we go. And Oliver says his heating's been on for ages. And Tim has said that he doesn't need a heater. His computers are the heater.
I bet.
I can imagine they'll be hot for sure.
And this is basically how I do it. Sorry, it's very therapeutic. If anyone's done this before, you'll know how therapeutic it is because it's just good fun. like making sure the shapes all work. Now, the cool thing about this is once I've gone ahead and vectored all this in with the lines, you can obviously swap them like this just to check if the shape works. So you'll be able to see some little points in here. If I just get rid of that node, you can see like points in here where it might not work fully, where you might have to change where the anchor point is. But you can see there I'm snapping to 0 degrees, and that's how I do it. And to get that, you go up here and make sure smart guides are turned on and snapping is also turned on. But for now, I'm going to actually have to take those blue dots off when I'm touching, because I can't see what I'm doing when I do that.
Hey, Gareth asks, how long did it take you to get to the final sketch idea before you moved into Illustrator?
Probably an hour of continuous work. Probably an hour, I would say. I mean, to go into the vectorizing bit isn't a hard thing, because it's more editable than the actual drawing bit. You can edit it all the time if you wanted to. So as soon as I feel like I've got something in place that could work, then I'll just go for it, because I can always just edit the type afterwards.
And you can do these drawings in Fresco or Procreate. Just give them a sketch.
That's
or
it.
on pen and paper.
That's it. So you can do it in any sort of drawing, because this is just a drawing. So certainly you can do it in Fresco. Another way you could do it would be taking a picture of your work or scanning your work into the computer, which is what we used to do before the iPad and all the apps came out. And that's what we used to do. We used to do this on the computer all the time. Here's a perfect example of what not to do for anyone who doesn't know. A little tip that I would give to anyone. These lines here, so this handle is like intersecting this handle here. So what happens is you can see the shape here is looking very odd. So what we need to do is make sure that these handles never intersect each other. So we bring it further back, both of them, and bring this one further down until we have a good balance between both of them. And that can like take some practice to do. But generally speaking, when I'm doing this, I'm only focused on the 2 anchor points at a time. And then the rest of it is just from experience, knowing how far to pull up the handles to create the bend.
That's a good tip. And Stuart asks, are you holding the shift key circle thing while pulling the anchor point out?
No. So like the cool thing about this, which is so different, is it automatically knows if you're pulling the handle out. So I can do it one-handed. I mean, you can do this, and this is great for if you're pulling a handle to the side. If I was to do this, I could break the chain in that handle, so I can move this handle wherever, which I don't want to do for that. But generally speaking, I don't have to. I just do this and push it with my pen tool, like so.
Right.
So it's actually really good. You don't need to go back to the direct selection tool at all. You can see we've got an issue down here. The line looks a bit odd. So we go ahead and fix this by just experimenting. Hello. Don't double tap. There we go.
And do the letters go onto their own layer, or are they all in one layer? Asks Nick.
They're all in one layer. I'm not really... With Illustrator, you can just select whichever shape you want. And because we'll be merging these shapes later on, it doesn't particularly bother me right now where they are. That's the cool thing about Illustrator. You can just do the work on it, not particularly worry about it, especially if you haven't got the need to create a stacking order behind you. And you can see here what I'm doing. I'm finding the extreme of the path as well. So that means, for example, actually, I'll just come off this just to show you. So when I'm creating or working out where my anchor points need to be, I can create a box around the shape on the outside. And every time this box meets with the shape or the letter, that's where an anchor point should be, because that's how basic illustration or vector works in the best way possible. And it makes it so much easier to fix later on.
That's good. And what makes you decide to do this as a vector project in Illustrator or draw with vector brushes in Fresco?
Oh, you don't have the pencil in Fresco. Illustrator is more like precise.
Yeah.
And with stuff like this, it's just so much, you get so much more precision having the pencil. So I would always just stick with the pencil. Hello, let me just collect this.
Jane says, excellent tips. I want to rush off and open Illustrator now. Do it.
Yeah, do it. It is good. It's good fun. It's so much. You can see how fast I'm going. It might not be as fast for everyone who's just starting, but certainly once you get the hang of this, it becomes a lot easier.
See, with the normal Illustrator on the desktop, I've only really got to very basic shapes, pulling together, like trees or, circular objects that didn't require a lot of editing like this. And you can just see that on the iPad, this is going to be the quickest way for me to get drawings into Illustrator, just using the pen tool.
That's it, or the pencil tool. Because the pencil tool in Illustrator on iPad is actually, in my opinion, better than on the desktop, just because it works like so much more naturally with the with your Apple Pencil. I'm just pasting this on because I want it to be the same. Hang on, copying the appearance, pasting it. There we go. Okay, so that E isn't perfect. Now for the A, I'm going to cheat. I'm a cheater person. Just pull out a shape. You can see the same again. It's going to bring out an O. We're going to duplicate this, bring it down. We're going to select both of them. I'm going to go ahead to the shape builder tool and just press minus front and then convert to path. Now that will be basically an O. And then for here, I'm going to use some angled handles just because it makes most sense here for me to do that. And again, the cool thing about having paths and doing it like this, it might seem like a lot of work, but it actually saves you a lot of time using this system because you're able to edit these paths super quickly if you've made a mistake because you know exactly where the anchor point should be.
And Stuart asks, how do you manage your kerning grid, or is it just experience?
How do I manage my kerning grid?
For your original sketch, I think.
Oh, I just use my experience. So, like, kerning is generally experience. It's all an optical illusion anyway, because you've got to overshoot and do lots of, like, little adjustments. I'm going to turn off my volcanic heater. It's way too hot now.
Like volcanic heat.
There we go. So, yeah, I would just, in any program that I'm using or even any sketching, it's all about just understanding how it should look and the illusion that you can create through it. So kerning takes a while and experience to do. There's no, like, it's definitely objective, good kerning, but it's subjective on how to get good kerning, like the process you take to get there. Okie dokie. Next one.
Yeah, Gareth's asking about the grid, just to guarantee the space between the letters that you put there, or even the words. But I've seen you draw like by hand, and I haven't seen you use a grid to draw like this.
It depends what kind of grid. So I do use compositional grids, but kerning's different. So you'll be talking about line spacing, I think. But I think with kerning, because if you were to mathematically kern your fonts like to the precise place where they should be, then they will look all wrong, because it's about the illusion of what our brain sees. So for instance, a W and an O together would be a lot closer together mathematically than a T and an I together. And that's simply because our brain doesn't equate the same space with those shapes. So we have to make optical adjustments to the O. So for instance, on here, every shape that is circular on the top is above the X height, just slightly, because it makes your brain think that it's on the X height where it should be. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain, but it does work. It's
so interesting, like all of this other knowledge that you have to add to something like this that you're making, you know. It's good to hear about the, you know, the optical illusion side of it.
Yeah, it can be boring to some, but to me it's good fun.
Definitely. And there was a question from Sandrine, and it was something that I wanted to know as well, in that what would you use, you know, your tablet for compared to Illustrator on the desktop for now? Like, is there a different experience between the two? One that you'd go to, obviously, with the pencil tool or pen?
It depends. I think if as a guy who does branding, Illustrator on the computer is obviously going to be quicker for some rudimentary things, such as, you know, basic shapes and flinging out ideas really quickly. I think pen tooling, like, you know, doing this is more fun on here. So I'd probably stick with Illustrator right now anyway, because I've only had it for about a month. I'll probably stick with just lettering on here for now. Although I have done logo design in here too, and it works like a dream, because you've got the shape builder tool, which is the biggest thing I was hoping to see, was to have that functionality. If that makes sense. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, no. It's good to have the option now. I need to get stuck into this on the iPad. I can't believe that I've not been able to play with it yet. So just watching this, I'm just thinking, all the possibilities.
I say, and this is just the sketching part, really. But it's part of the fun process. You can image trace stuff. I don't think you can do that on the iPad right now. But if you do image trace it, it won't be as good. It will just be all weird and you can't edit it. You can see I'm breaking my rules every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's okay in certain situations. When you know it works, it's fine.
Yeah.
The goal is to have as least anchor points as possible, but as many as you need to control the shape. So for instance, here, what a lot of type designers would do is create an intersecting anchor point for control in the middle of these two, because you've got two horizontal handles. So you want another horizontal handle where you can change the width without changing the boundary of the shape. So that's probably a really boring one.
No, but it's good to see. It's quite hard sometimes because we're trying to follow your pen, and I can see roughly where the little blue dots are along the line. And so I'm just trying to follow, getting closer to the screen.
Oh yeah, I do apologize. I can zoom in a bit.
No, don't worry. It's not you. It's actually the where you're applying the pen to the iPad, and it's where that comes in there.
I forget. Yeah. Next time I do this, I'll make sure to have like an overhead camera set up so you can see it. I mean, yeah, it's difficult to illustrate because with vectors, obviously you can't be having like big pointy, you know, that blue dot. I couldn't have that on here because I won't be able to accurately. But here we go. Let's see if we can create this. So you can see these numbers on the side when I'm doing it. I'm just making sure they're at 0. They sort of snap to 0 anyway.
Yeah. It's really coming together. You've done so much we've only been on for 25 minutes. It feels like 5 minutes. But you've already done, finished a whole word here.
Well, that's it. I mean, it shouldn't take too long to do the rest, I hope. And if it does, I'll just, steal my old design and work on that. Here's one I made earlier type of thing, which I did last time, I think, because I knew it would take too long to do certain parts.
In the chat, Sandrine says Sandrine's teaching her husband to draw vector and making a point of having him delete all the extra anchor points, being ruthless. Yes, Sandrine.
That's it. And this method here really does help. This letter's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. It's just about knowing where to place them. And when you have like a limitation in place on where you're putting them, it makes it so much easier for you to know where to put them. So you can tell that I get quite quiet when I do it, but...
No worries. It's good watching you work, and it's all coming together really quickly. Really quickly.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It'll be a fast one.
Nick has a question for you. He says, so looks like you're in between a pen man and a designer. Where do you put yourself?
Well, it's hard to explain that. I started in design when I was doing calligraphy, because that's what I was first doing. So I did a lot of calligraphy and hand lettering as a kid. Well, calligraphy, should I say. I wasn't very good at it as a kid. And when I was 17, when I wanted to do design, I wanted to make my own fonts. So I basically just did that and started with calligraphy to do that. Hang on a sec. Sorry, concentrating for a second. You can see you can do this as well with the anchor points, which is a really cool way of creating nice shape. So I'm going to have to like fiddle with this later because my perfectionism is going to come into place. But yeah, I think I'm a cross breed, but a lot of people love to do typographical drawings and stuff, hand lettering as a designer. I've met a lot of designers that are good designers as well as, you know, exceptional hand letterers as well, because it's all about composition, and all graphic design really is communication, isn't it? So understanding how words and the way they're placed and laid out and graphics stuff, it helps.
And you know, everybody in the chat, they're trying to help you out here because they're saying, why didn't you use the E that you'd already made earlier in the word to put on the end?
If I did that, so this E looks a bit different, but balance is a huge thing. So this E needs to look, so this one needs to look like that. This one's smaller because at the start and at the end, they have to be sort of bigger to create the balance. So you can see it all the way through. If I was to create a smaller E, it would look like it tapers off. But I want it to be self-contained when it goes to over here. So I hope that makes sense.
It does.
It's hard to explain.
No, it's good. All these little rules, though. This is why I honestly, very good. Really
yes,
cool.
These rules are the thing that, although it seems counterintuitive to have rules when it comes to like creating stuff, it does actually help having them.
Yeah. And it's always good to have a guideline, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
When you're breaking the rules.
I've broken the rule there as well, because of this kind of lettering that we're doing is a bit different.
And how long would you spend on a project like this from start to finish?
3-4 hours, I would say. Like, well, it depends really on the idea. Sometimes the idea can take me longer to come up with. And then this part here, there'll be a lot of experimenting. So once I've done this, it would be like, right now I need to experiment with the background and maybe changing the composition and stuff like that. It's hard to really gauge though, like on exactly how much time you would need. It depends. If the idea is already there, you would just do it.
Yeah.
But with me, I'm kind of rushing this a bit today.
No worries.
Understandably, but
it's going fast though. You've already done a lot of it already. And you could keep drawing. I'll keep asking you questions. So no worries.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I do have another one. Jackie asks, how do you adjust the anchor points in previous points and then pick up the line again? Like, are you pressing anything to do that?
Say that again, sorry.
So how are you adjusting the anchor points and then drawing again? Like are you clicking a button on and off or holding anything, or you're literally just moving them?
No, so like through this, I'm just selecting with the pen tool the anchor point. So on Illustrator on iPad, you can just select the node that you want or the anchor point that you want with the pen tool. And then I'm not pressing any of the buttons here when I'm changing this or when I'm changing this. Now, when I'm done with this sort of line here, I will go to this node tool up at the top left, and now it allows me to select all of them. I can like select both of them if I want to. And then, adjust the line as I want. But generally speaking, it's mostly done with just the pen tool. Like here, I can just put an anchor point down here, move the handles out with the pen tool. And that's because it's a one-handed experience. That's what I guess anyway, I don't know, but they've wanted to make this as easy as possible to do with the pen, the Apple Pencil.
Yeah.
So the ability to not having to press a button to change where the anchor point is the reason why it's easier on the iPad, I guess. You don't have to worry about too many buttons. That's why I'm flying through it, because I'm literally just pushing different buttons and snapping them into place like this. I'm zooming in when I need to. For instance, here I would go to the direct selection tool because I need to be a bit more precise. Making sure I've got that line all good there. Pen tool.
And I completely agree with you, Sandrine. In the chat, Sandrine says, I would be happy just to draw as neatly as the sketch underneath, really. Yes.
Well, the sketch looks neater than the idea at first. I mean, so I think you've got to start off messy. So I start very messy, and then it's a battle of refinement. So you just keep refining it by adding another layer. You can do that in Fresco quite easily. For me, the whole thing is like, I sometimes, if the idea looks bad straight away when I'm really quickly sketching it out to see if composition works, I'll just forget about it. But then with this one, I was like, no, I really want to just stick to it and see what happens when I do stick to it.
Yeah. Although I've got to say, Will, I've never seen you start off messy. I've watched you draw live in your reels on Instagram, and it's always perfect. It's always good. So
that's because the idea is tried and tested. Like if you look at, I do live streams on my channel as well, and like the ideas there aren't tried and tested. It's more like my guinea pig ideas. And it's not a good thing, like all the time having like different ideas. Because if you know the idea works, you know what to do. If you know the idea doesn't work and you don't know what you're doing, it takes a lot longer and you second guess yourself, which is part of the process. But yeah, it can look good on the streams because I've done it before. My little secret out. Because I've done all this before and I know like what to do to make it look good. So don't think that you have to do it this fast.
No, you're going very fast, of course. Yeah.
Here we go. Cool little thing as well. You can delete a handle by selecting it, which is something that I found out the other day, which was very nice. You can select handles to delete. Oh, there's that.
I'm so glad you... Oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, from here, there'll be a few copying and pasting happening. So things, if you're doing a Logotype, what you would generally do is you'd copy and paste so many different elements of a letter to keep it so consistent. With hand lettering, the beauty behind hand lettering art is that it looks imperfect, but it looks brushed and it looks different in each letter, but it has an element of consistency. So as we go further on, I'll show you how I normally would do it with like a Logotype or something, because this could be made into a big long logo, for instance. Well, I wouldn't say logo, but
yeah, I could see that though, like a logo, or I can see this being like a sticker. You know, like the stickers, the digital stickers.
That's the idea. So this is actually born out of me wanting to give something back to some of my members on my channel. So I was wanting to send them either a sticker or enamel badge for Christmas.
Yeah. Nice. Stuart's quickly there saying merch. Yes, Stu.
Yeah. Merch, link in bio. Not saying it's a link in this bio here. But
oh gosh, I get so confused when people do that. So I'm thinking, what do you mean? Link in bio? Why? This is not English.
That's it. It's the social slang.
Oh goodness, I know.
These little bits here can be a bit tricky, but we can work that out later.
I was going to say before, I'm really glad that you kind of smoothed the W at the side there, because I could see it sticking out. You know, when you stare at something, it gives you a twitchy eye.
I get that quite a lot. It's but sometimes I forget, and that's why you have to zoom out quite a lot, make sure what you're doing. But again, it's a good thing about using the pen tool here is that you don't have to freak out as much. It's just this is going to annoy me forever now. Hello. My hand keeps brushing up the iPad.
No. And do you use and I think we asked this in the Max chat that we did together, but do you use a sticker or a screen kind of protector
I do, yeah.
I can't remember what it was called.
Called Paper-like. It makes it really slidey, yeah, which is great for drawing. It does degrade the screen a little bit, so it's like a bit more diffused, which would be my only complaint about it. But I've had Paper-like, I think, ever since they came out. I worked with them on their branding as well, actually.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, they're good. Like any matte screen protector is good, but this one, for me, has just been the easiest. There's a problem here, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I might have to leave it because it's going to take a while for me to fix. And I think it's because... There we go. Wait, nope.
Hey, Matt asks, can you turn off the hand touch so only the pen works with the new Illustrator on the iPad?
Yep, I'm touching it.
Cool.
Simple.
That was quick.
Simple answer. I knew someone would ask that. I mean, yeah, it still touches the artboard, if that makes sense. So you can still move the artboard and stuff, but generally when I'm doing this, it doesn't mess around with my work at all. Okay, so let's have a look. That looks okay to me, I think. Maybe up here.
What are the rules then between spacing of the words that you've got between your word create and then your middle words? Like, is there any rules that you follow there?
Just seeing what looks good. It's like, again, it comes with practice, but making sure that the idea can like stay with it. And also it's made to have this background here. It's made to be blocky, chunky, and friendly. So really just creating it so we can have that background there, which is why keeping it close together so it works by itself, but then also works with the background. But yeah, it's hard to explain. A lot of the stuff I'm doing is hard to explain because I'm bad at explaining it. Not because it's hard, but
No.
Same again here. We'll just go ahead, minus front, convert to path, done.
And wouldn't you have used the A that you had above in the word create to do that and just scale it larger, or?
I would do, but it's a different A.
Oh.
So this one's more of a bully. So it starts off with like a really flat word. So the word's quite flat at the bottom, at the bowls. But it goes into more of a jubbly font here. But they look quite similar. But you can see here there's a lot more like, bouncier
Lovely.
Here in the middle. And that's the way that I keep it looking interesting throughout when you're looking at it. But again, it's just down to preference. If you wanted to do it, you can. But generally, I like the look of the different A here. And this A will probably be stolen for the, the P, all these different things, the I as well. Because this part here of the A is just a bit of an I.
Cool.
That there.
And we have about 20 minutes left. So if anybody has questions for Will today, get them into the chat. We're chatting on Behance, behance.net/live. Any questions at all? We're using Illustrator on the iPad. This lettering today.
Yeah, we've only got 20 minutes left. Right, okay, I'm going to have to speed run.
It's gone really fast.
Yeah, you think?
Mm.
I was hoping to do it quicker than this so I could show everything, but I think this is the easier part of the lettering now. This kind of lettering here is quite easy to do.
Tim has just shared in the chat, engage the turbo mode.
Yes, I'm engaging turbo mode.
And Matt says, you're making it look very easy and great to use. I completely agree, Matt. He's making me want, I have not got into this yet. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it.
That was quite natural. Like when I picked it up, it took about 10 minutes of like, okay, so how do we do this? And yeah, and then it was very natural of, oh, right, okay, this is exactly how to do it. You know, you've got everything laid out for you.
Yeah.
I think the tendency for people now is to think, oh, the pencil is so difficult on the computer. It must be so much more difficult on the iPad. And the opposite is the true.
Yeah.
Here we go. Where does this one go? I think it goes here.
Amberish asks, what cap are you wearing? It looks like your typo. Did you make that?
No, it's a Titleist one. So I like to play golf when I'm allowed. So I just like the hat as well. I love the logo on it too. I'm not affiliated with them, but that would be cool, right?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
That looks good to me. This one here, quickly go ahead. This.
Ben asks, are you switching between a shaped corner and a curved corner when drawing the line?
Shaped corner and a curved corner?
You're not using shapes, are you? You're literally just drawing it with a pencil.
Yeah, I'm just penciling it. It looks like it because the reason why it might look like it is because I'm sticking to the horizontal and vertical rule. Because every shape, even the default like circle shape, if I bring it up, there we go. And you see this? It's got all the anchor points to the top, left, bottom, and right. So it's all there. And it's same, generally speaking, for all my lettering. Makes life a lot easier for people. Here we go. Let's get this one. I'm wanting to finish this really badly, but I didn't realize it would take this long. So there's that. Create this one.
Stuart asks, what software do you use for your 3D lettering work? Cinema, 4D, or Blender?
Just Adobe Dimension at the minute, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So the way that I got this one into Dimension was through this, I don't know if it's well known, but it's a hack, not a real hack. It's something that a Dimension allows you to do, but you can put it in this as a vector image into Photoshop, create it as a 3D layer, save it and export it as an object, like a 3D object, and then import it into Dimension. And there, boom, you've got like your own 3D object where you can add different things onto it. So I think it's something that people would like to do. And because I'm not really a 3D guy, I just love the fact that I can use Dimension super easily to do it. It doesn't take long. And it's more about just like, a little playing ground for 3D work.
It's good to have a playing dimension, especially where you can angle the light coming from different ways, and it creates shadows behind the objects that you've got. And there's so much you can do.
And the reflections as well, they're unreal.
Yeah.
Just looks so real when you do it.
And they've changed the way that it renders the images now, because I know that at the start it took quite a long time. And my PC isn't like a graphic, I think I've got a graphic card in this somewhere, but it wasn't like a very technical PC. So it used to take ages to render anything out of Dimension. But now it's really fast. So,
yeah, that must be the new update, right?
mhm. Yeah.
So for here, let's see what I can do. Okay, now I'm gonna have to keep going along like this. Actually, we're nearly there. We nearly finished it, and I can hopefully show it in all its glory before the end. You can see I'm cheating as we go along. As the pressure mounts, I'll keep cheating a bit.
The pressure, the heartbeat. You can hear it. Gareth says, "Oh, Maddie is a PCer." Yes, Gareth. I can't make the leap to a Mac yet. I just can't. I just don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day. Never say never. Stuart says, "Oh, Maddie."
I reckon you will one day. So I've got both. I've got a PC and a Mac.
Do you?
Yeah, I like them both for different reasons. I mean, I use Dimension on my Mac. No, my PC, sorry.
Yeah.
Just because it's at home. Right now, I'm in my COVID secure office.
So I'm always in Premiere Pro or Rush, and it works totally fine on my PC, so I have no problem. Gareth writes, #dead to me. Amazing.
Creators generally do like Apple products, don't they? And I think that's like part of it is the simplicity.
Yeah. Yeah. James says, PCers unite. You lot make me laugh, honestly. Amazing. If it works, don't fix it. Yes, Matt. Yes. Now I've started something. There was a debate about heating, and now there's a debate about PC and Macs.
Yeah.
Next, it will be a debate between cameras, and that's always the other one that comes up, right?
Oh, cameras, dear me. That was a horrible debate. I don't even know. I've got a Fujifilm camera here, which is what's recording my face. And that one's done well for me, but I'm looking to get another one. But don't know which one to get.
Yeah.
Oh, it's these little bits here that are really annoying.
Yeah, I can see they're not, yeah. I could see why you'd spend a long time in a project like this, just making sure that all of these little bits, the eye's not drawn to them and you can see the lines.
That's it. It's even more important when you're designing a font. That can kill you. The amount of time that you would spend on these little tiny points just here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave that because although it looks bad when I'm zoomed in, I'm going to leave it for this.
Yeah.
Right, let's see.
And like within 40 minutes or 48 minutes, you've covered nearly 3 words on here already. It's much faster than I'd be able to operate in like a desktop version. Like it's so many advantages on the iPad.
Oh yeah, there's no buttons to press. It's just like moving certain points. Right. It's actually very clever, the whole thing. But obviously I'm not doing it perfectly because the great thing about the pen tool is once you've done all this, and what a lot of people actually do, which is the way I first did it, was just worry about where the anchor points go first. So you would just like put the anchor points in and then use the handles later. But as I've gotten like a bit faster, it's been a bit easier to do just what I want to do. And
it looks like that. Good.
This is where I break the rules.
Gareth says, in case we run out of time, how does Will deal with creating his offset highlights on the text, the grey inlines on the final version?
So these are literally, let me just select it. It's the blob brush tool. So I bring it down the size to something ridiculously small. And even smaller than that, really. And I would change the pressure. Obviously, it's not changing on here, but you can change the pressure dynamics. 100%. And then you can create highlights. And then here as well, you can create black squares here. Oops. These black ones, which make it look like it's going into the next shape. It's all just illusions. I wanted to show you how to do that. I don't think we'll have time, but then I'll explain how I do it, which is adding a stroke. So you duplicate it with a stroke on, the black stroke. So if I go ahead and ungroup this. Okay. And ungroup it again. There's so many groups. So you take this. It looks really strange, this. Don't worry. If this is the end bit, let me just get rid of this. So it's got like a big fat stroke on it. All we do, duplicate it by dragging, bring it to the back, make the fill black. Boom. Then you'd, in the middle, if there's like bits in the middle, you would use your blob brush tool. Just deselect. Use your blob. Hello. Blob brush tool again. Increase the size a bit.
So handy having that brush tool.
Oh yeah, brush. Very handy.
Blob brush tool. Gav says the black inlines are a really clever idea. I completely agree.
Yeah, they're really fun. So I'll show you. Just because I'm scared that I might not be able to show my coolest parts. So you just follow the line coming up. And it's a bit of trial and error unless you want to use a pencil again. But by this point, you're probably sick of it. So you just want to kind of sketch it upwards a bit.
And is there a rule for the amount of letters that you do that with? Would it go on all of them or just the ones that...
You can do it on all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you wanted to. So for here, you can bring that. Maybe not.
Oh.
Maybe not there. You're just trying to do it to make it look like it's like you've got a layered pattern on.
Yeah.
So it's all about just creating that illusion and trial and error. So you want it to look like it's bubbling inside itself a little bit. For up here, you could, create a little bit there. With the P, you could like come down here and then go up here to create that effect. So there's a lot of different little effects that you could create. And then after this, you could bring it like into Photoshop. And as I said, you can play around with the vector inside of Photoshop and do whatever you want. As well as this, you could change the background. So group it all together. I just duplicated it by accident. Group. Once you've done all your work, you can create a square in the background. You can change the color. Do it green. Or teal. I like teal. Move this to the background using the action bar. Lock it.
It just looks so simple and straightforward.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you can do with it. It's actually insane. You can like create a pattern if you wanted to. So I'll show you that really quick. So there's a new radio. I haven't even shown you all the features inside of this thing. So we can do this. We can use the blob brush tool again. If we increase the size, a bit less than that. In fact, I'll change the color as well. Minus front. Hello? No, that didn't work because I need to do this. So can create a leaf. Then from here, you can create a radial grid.
So easy, isn't it? That's so fast.
Or create even just a normal grid with the radial grid.
Wow. This is something I really need to play with. This is amazing.
Move this to the front. Lock that in the background. And there you go. Like, you can do all sorts with it. And then you can create run the smoothing to 8. Now you can create little shapes in the background, like little blood bees. I won't do that because that'll take too long. But there's so many features like that. That was a radial tool, and the grid in the background isn't the best, but you can see what you can do with it. You can create all of this together, and I didn't really have to do anything to it. I just had to like group it together. It's very easy to manage to select whatever you want and like play around with it, which is what I like to do. But this is what I've done so far. How long have we got left?
We've about 3, maybe 5 minutes at the most.
Cool. Right. Well, let's see what I can do. Do I want to play with this even more?
Jackie asks, can you have many artboards?
Yes. You can press this artboard tool here. You can duplicate an artboard if you so desire, but you have to make sure whatever you've got on there is not locked. Select this one, duplicate it, move it.
Nice.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. I can show you some other my other lettering actually, which is me going way off point, but just to show other people what can be done inside with hand lettering. This again is like me doing my Spencerian brush script using the same method. So if I go into outline mode, all the handles and stuff, this was done directly in the iPad when I first got it. All the handles are there. Now I copied some of the parts, like for instance this D part here, I'd copy that to be part of the L. The I would be part of the R. The E's are all copied over, and obviously it's not finished, but you can create like a lot of really intricate pieces of work inside of here. See what else I've got. Some of them are client work, so can I show that? Here's another look at the create what inspires thing. So this is like from me taking it from Illustrator on here, and then I put it into Illustrator on my computer to do the match, the recolor thing. So you can see I've got some images here. So you can do like these color theme pickers inside of the recolor artwork tool. So this color here is all based on this picture there, and I did it in one click of a button. So, and that's basically it.
Good. There's so many possibilities, and it was like we need more time. Will, we need you to come back for sure and talk to us about the 3D move. Making your image into a 3D image and then bringing that in as an object into dimension and
I would love
playing
to,
with them.
That's even more fun. For anyone who hasn't seen it, that's what it looks like right there.
It's just so good. And that texture of cardboard.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Good. Yeah, and the water was something that I knew. I learned today, as I didn't know that there was the water option within Dimension. So,
there's loads. Loads of cool little options.
So many options and so many techniques you shared today. So many rules and optical illusion rules around lettering, which I love. Will, it's been really great having you on today. Always a pleasure. And great to see everybody in the chat. We're back same time tomorrow here at Adobe Live. Tune in at midday tomorrow, and then again the day after. So we'll see you all again soon. Thank you, Will.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.